tourist island of Maui has been devastated by deadly fires.
The death toll has now reached 36, with authorities warning that number will rise. This morning, US President Joe Biden has declared a major disaster in the state, with every available agency now mobilised, and our Defence Minister confirming to Today that Australia is standing by to help. Right now, mass evacuations are underway, with 2,000 travellers sheltering at the island's airport.
It's hard to comprehend the devastation. This is the tourist town of Lahaina before the fires. Now check it out afterwards.
Wow.
The coastal town has been ripped apart.
US correspondent Jonathan Kersley is on the ground in Maui.
This is the road out of Lahaina, that township of 12,000 people that was so badly decimated in the fires of 2 days ago. 36 people at least have lost their lives. We've been told here on the ground there is a concern that number will continue to rise. What you can see here right now, this is a flood of cars. People who are trying to leave this coastal area on the western side of the island of Maui in Hawaii. They are trying to get out of this area, possibly up into the major city and potentially to the airport, where there are 2,000 people who slept overnight, desperately trying to make their way off this island. Some have said that they could be here for 2 days trying to get flights out. This very much still is a crisis unfolding on the ground, not just because of the tragic loss of life, and so many people have now been left without their homes, but there is a real concern now here about the speed in which help could arrive. There is concern too that there might not be the number of houses needed in order to get the people who have lost their homes into short-term accommodation. So that is one of the issues that authorities here on the ground are trying to address. In the last couple of hours or so, we've seen scores of trucks make their way into Lahaina, that township that was so badly burnt. They've been carrying bottles of water, gas bottles as well. This is an area that is still largely without power. Communication is poor to nothing, and the help really is needed here on the ground. Here's what some of the locals here have had to tell us.
National aid, that's all we need. I need to let more people in to help.
Well, I would cry, but I've already done enough of that. I feel sorry for the people that lost their lives and their homes. They're all neighbors and friends of mine. We're a tight-knit community in Lahaina, and they will rebuild that town.
So Joe Biden has announced a disaster declaration. That is essentially a mission to allow him to get more help onto this island. His National Director of Emergency Management will be visiting this island tomorrow to find out exactly how bad the situation is on the ground. But talking to the people here, they say it is dire. Many have been sleeping in evacuation centres. They've been sleeping in their own cars. Some today, you can see this queue of cars here behind me on this side of the road. They are filled with people who are trying to get back into Lahaina or into townships around that area to see whether their homes are still standing. Right now, they don't have the answers. They say they need the answers, but also they need the help, and they need it here fast.
Jono Kersley reporting there from Maui.
Welcome back to the show. Well, the disaster on the Hawaiian island of Maui is being described as an apocalypse. Wildfires destroying homes, businesses, and claiming the lives of 36 people.
Our next guest, Alexa Kasky, owns a restaurant in Lahaina, and she joins us now from Maui. Alexa, thanks so much for joining us, particularly at this very difficult time for you. I mean, what condition is your restaurant in? Do you know yet?
From a couple people that didn't evacuate that our restaurant is actually in one of the only buildings that's still standing, but nearly all of the rest of Lahaina is completely gone.
Our heart breaks for you, Alexa. So many Australians have such ties with Hawaii and Maui in particular. How difficult has the last 24 to 48 hours been for you all?
It's, obviously it's really tough. It feels unreal. Almost everybody was evacuated. And once you kind of leave the little pocket of Lahaina, the weather's completely different. In Lahaina, for the 48 hours up until when we left, the wind just sounded like constant freight trains. Trees were blowing over everywhere. It was just unrelenting, which is obviously what fanned the flames so, historically. But you leave there and it feels like any other day. So it just doesn't feel real yet, I think.
And even from afar, watching on as this is all unfolding and seeing the images we're looking at now, they're just so widespread, this destruction. It's a town that's so desperate for help at the moment. Are you receiving the assistance you need? Are people able to get through? We know the power's been down, cell coverage has been down.
Well, I mean, I evacuated to another part of the island that did lose power, but has power back on now. And I think the immediate need is probably just going to be finding homes for people who lost their homes. I have heard that I think my home that I live in is fine. I had a rental property that I offered for employee housing that's completely gone. So all of my like employees / tenants are, you know, homeless. I'm hoping that the hotels are able to step in and house some people for fulfilling their immediate needs for shelter. But I think that's the biggest thing that people need right now.
Alexa, I know that I think everyone's familiar with that Hawaiian mana spirit, but I've seen men, really big, beautiful, burly Hawaiian dudes, just broken from all of this, and I don't know how they're going to recover very soon. It's going to be such a tough road ahead. Do you feel like you've been let down? Do you feel like you've got enough support?
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely not one of the people who's in most need of support right now. Like, I'm more trying to offer support. There's so many people who are in a way worse position than me. So I'm trying to assess, you know, what position I'm in to be able to offer as much support as I can. There's definitely some GoFundMes and stuff that I'm sure people can find if they want to donate. I know, for instance, the Maui Humane Society has taken in tons of animals that have, you know, now like suffered burns, and obviously that's just for animals. But yeah, the people need shelter, and I'm not with them right now. Like, we have somewhere to stay, so I'm trying to figure out how I can help people that do need that, because that's the most immediate, you know, concern for, I would guess, probably 3,000 to 5,000 people who lost their homes.
It's almost cruel looking at where you are now on another part of the island, as you point out. It's so green there, and then it was so dry, tinder dry, with all that fuel burning. Hey, go well, Alexa. Thanks for being on our show. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. We are only just beginning to see the full scale of devastation these Hawaiian wildfires have had. And they have been through so much on the island of Maui, destroying a town, claiming the lives of 36 people. And expectations that death toll will rise. Our next guest escaped with only his car and his work colleagues, leaving everything else behind. Fidei Borsic joins us now from Maui. Fidei, thank you so much for your time. We can't even begin to imagine what you've been through these past 48 hours. Tell us a bit about how everyone's holding up.
So basically now I'm in a house of a co-worker. This is in Waiehu, that is like an hour away. It's the north face of the island. And basically, what I've been doing is just keeping everyone informed about what was going on. I have a big community on WhatsApp that is called Maui Social Club. We're like 1,000 people there, and we were like trying to communicate everything that we can to see if people were doing fine or what we need or what is shelter. But keeping communication is the main thing, and then helping to get donations anywhere that it's possible.
I mean, that's, I was going to say, that's the hard part. We know how difficult it's been to get help in and out of the disaster zone. As you mentioned there, the communications power being down, you're evacuated just in time. How do you anticipate these next couple of days playing out? I mean, everyone knows how much help you need. Will you get it?
So now it's not a moment to get questions or make decisions for sure. What we're trying to do is just make people be fine and try to keep them safe. At the moment, the shelters, donation centers that are made here in the center of the island are being collapsed because people are starting to come from the west side where the fireworks were. They're coming to get anything they can to this side of the island before it was closed.
And how are you? I mean, to have lost everything, you know, basically except your car, to now be staying with your friend, how do you pull through something like that?
Yesterday I went again to where my house was, so I walked all the Haina town completely devastated, and I don't feel worried about futures or so what's gonna come. I feel that it's crazy how anything you can build. Talking about myself living on the island for more than 2 years, I don't know, I was sleeping in a tent in a hostel and turned out to have a beautiful house in the center of Lahaina town. All my surfboards or my cars or anything, and everything was just vanished. It was ashes.
Yeah.
The only things that were standing were like 4 stairs that go to my lanai, and that was that. And I took a picture just standing there with nothing behind me, and before it used to be the front of my house, or where I used to be, right? But it's a feeling of like, I feel now I need to look for a new adventure. But I was able to walk around with other people and talk. And first of all, they don't know what happened. How is Lahaina? But it's devastating. It's like the place I used to like to work, the place I used to go to hang out, nothing of that exists. The old historical Lahaina town doesn't exist anymore. Anyways, ashes.
It is, Fidei, absolutely devastating and heartbreaking to hear your account there of just how real this disaster is for you and so many others. Our thoughts, of course, are with you and the locals there. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know how tough it is.